Number one, he's incompetent, so he's not going to be good. But the prosecutor actually said he's guilty, but he's incompetent. But they didn't say he couldn't be president anymore. That was his bigger problem for not being president. How can you not represent yourself in court because you're incompetent, but you're allowed to represent the United States of America? The whole thing is crazy. But
rules always change for
they
them.
have weaponized government against me.
But are you willing to use the same tactics?
No, I don't want to do that because that's a bad thing for the country. I don't want to do that. I don't know who said. I haven't said that I would, but they have done it. I've got attorney generals, DAs. They're all. Right. You take a look in Atlanta.
You're heavily investigated. Yeah.
They went and met with them. It's all coming out of the Justice Department. They have done something never done in this country before. Now, it's been done in a lot of other countries, third world countries, banana republics, but never done.
I mean, who is Trump's number one enemy at this point? Is it Kamala? Is it Iran? Is it the deep state, the DOJ, the bureaucrats,
I'll say
media, the citizens?
It's a tie between the media and the DOJ at this point.
Just about. They vying for number one spot right now. Like, who can
because
the most?
Because the media kind of justifies what the DOJ is doing to Trump.
Exactly.
Man, ain't that... It's tough. It's tough. But make sure you like the video, guys. Double tap that screen for us.
So when you ask that question, you really have to start by saying, well, they've done it to you. No, I'm not looking to do it to them at all. Because that is they have set a very bad precedent, however.
You talk about the enemy within. There's enemies, America's enemies outside. The enemy within is a pretty ominous phrase if you're talking about other Americans.
I think it's accurate. I think it's accurate.
Who are you talking about?
And,
the enemy?
I heard that. They say, oh, the enemy. On the outside, you have Russia, you have China, you have a lot of different groups. If you have a smart president, they can be easily handled. I handled them. We had no wars. We had no wars. The only thing I had was ISIS, and I defeated them in record time. They were gone. But I started no wars. The outside people, the so-called enemies, if they're enemies, and they might not be enemies, if you have a smart president, they can be handled. But when you have people investigating my campaign, when you have people, they spied on my campaign now. You understand that. That's been proven. But they spy on your campaign. The Russia hoax was all made up, and now it's acknowledged that it was made up. All of these different things. You have the 51 different agents saying...
Yeah, the Russiagate was to really hide the fact that the Hunter Biden laptop was real. Yes, it was real that Hunter Biden was out here making secret deals, doing secret meetups with, I guess, Chinese officials for an energy company. And, well, kind of selling out American energy for real. With the help of Biden, or AKA the big guy. So, yeah, they pretty much threw Russiagate in there to hide, Hunter Biden's laptop.
It was from Russia, and now they all say it wasn't from
Make
Russia.
sure you like the video.
So we were lying. Many other things, many. I could go. You just don't have enough time. But what they've done is so terrible. Who's ever heard of anything like this? Adam Shifty Schiff. He's a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician, 100%. And he's going to be a senator now. Can you believe it?
But again, he's a political opponent of yours.
He's not an enemy. No, he's of course, he's an enemy. He's an enemy. He wanted to put my son in jail, and my son didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yes.
He wanted to put my son in jail on a scam that he made up called Russia. He, Hillary Clinton, and a group of people made up a scam, and they came out of a room, and they said, Donald Trump Jr. will be going to jail over this. Mm-hmm. And my son called me and said, what did I do? He knew nothing about Russia.
Bro, I remember his son talked about it. He's like, bro, I step off a plane and all of a sudden I'm a Russian informant. And he's going like, bro, everybody's saying it's true. I'm damn near calling around like, bro, who did I talk to? Did I hop on a podcast with the wrong person? Like, what's going on here?
Bro, it's like we always say. They always throw stones in a glass house, meaning that whatever they're guilty of, they just accuse the other side of being guilty of. It's like a diversive tactic, like sleight of hand. Look over here while we do this in the background type shit.
It had nothing to do with him. Think of how bad you have to be when you say you're going to put any son, not just, a president's son, but any son.
Do us a quick favor and double tap that screen, like the video, guys, or the three dots up there in the corner.
Put somebody in jail on a scam that you knew was made up by you. That's an enemy from within. That is a threat to democracy. These are bad people. We have a lot of bad people. But when you look at Shifty Schiff and some of the others, yeah, they are, to me, the enemy from within. I think Nancy Pelosi is an enemy from within. She lied. She was supposed to protect the Capitol. She said that to her daughter just recently. It was found on the tape from her daughter, who's a documentary maker. She said, this is my responsibility. She admitted it. But I offered her 10,000 National Guard troop, anything she wanted. No, but she didn't take them. She should have taken them. And you wouldn't have had, you wouldn't have had January 6th as we know it.
Well, just
by the way, if she took 500 people, you wouldn't have had it, let alone 10,000.
Sure. So you actually give me a segue into my next question. I do have to say for the record that the spying accusation is in dispute. I know you don't believe that.
What accusation?
The spying accusation. But
I don't think it's in dispute. Obama and Biden spied on my campaign. It was a long time ago. We're talking about the previous campaign. Maybe they're doing this campaign too. But so far, it doesn't seem to be working.
January 6th, the other day you called it a day of love. That sparked a lot of reaction, given that many police officers were attacked and there were mobs shouting, hang Mike Pence. Can you understand why many Americans would view it as a dark and tragic day in our history?
The crowd I spoke before, which you rarely see, I have pictures of it.
This dangerous rhetoric against Trump, and it's been that way for a while. Like, think about it. Back in 2020, they were saying, like, oh, death to Trump and Mike Pence, hang them. I'm just like, yo, like, and they say the right has the incendiary rhetoric.
Yeah, and if you want to go check out the January 6th timeline, I reacted to the documentary. It's for members only right now, so go ahead and join the membership and go ahead and watch that video. It's a good one. If not, go ahead and double tap that screen, like the video. Let's go.
It's massive, but nobody wants to put them in. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I've spoken to the biggest crowds. I've never seen that many people. A small group of them, and peacefully and patriotically, which nobody uses. My words were peacefully and patriotically. A small group went down to the Capitol, but they came because they thought it was a rigged election. This was a protest against a rigged election.
Yeah, protest against the rigged election that they also did before January 6th. Like somebody said, they was also doing it in October. They was always protesting this election. It's just this protest turned into a riot and it got out of hand. To call it an insurrection, I mean, it's a far cry. You're reaching.
And I can't say exactly the number, but I've had massive crowds, and this was by far the biggest crowd. I've spoken to the crowd at the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial on the 4th of July. This crowd was bigger. And I tell you, there was a beauty to it and there was a love to it that I've never seen before.
But Mr. President,
a small group of people went down to the Capitol, and then a lot of strange things happened, including police ushering them into the Capitol. I mean, you know that. And a lot of strange...
Reported federal agents being really the agitators amongst the crowd.
Yep. So, bro, pretty much like feds pretty much saying we must storm the Capitol. We must go inside the Capitol, and then other protesters going like, "Dog, what's wrong with you? We're not trying to do that. You sound like a fed."
Along with being ushered in by state and Capitol Police, it seems more and more like a scripted event more than anything.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Let the riot happen so they can call it insurrection.
Man.
I'm not referring to that. I'm saying that when I saw that tremendous crowd, the largest group I've ever spoken to.
Shout out Ben Camp coming in with $2 for a super show at a stream as well.
Man, appreciate you.
Set and key are the best, man. 2024. Trump 2024.
Man, appreciate you, man. We love the support, bro. We love the support.
Shout out Ben, man.
Big Ben. Oh, let me know what. No, go ahead. I got you.
In front of these beautiful monuments, I thought it was actually a beautiful thing. It was a protest.
But
now,
Mr. President,
if other groups protest,
let me jump in, please.
I know, but when other groups protest, whatever they may be protesting, nobody says anything. They have a right to protest.
There was a lot of violence. 1,200 people pled guilty or were convicted. Almost 600 were charged with assaulting police officers or rioting. Now, you're somebody who says you're on the side of law enforcement, but you seem not to have much sympathy for the police on that day.
No, there's nobody closer to the police than I am. Nobody. But you take a look at Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon, people were killed. There was nobody killed here. Nobody had guns here either.
There were people with guns.
Well,
who were arrested.
really? I'd like to know. You mean in the rally, or they had?
That is a lie. There were nobody with guns. The police officers did walk through and caught somebody with a knife, and they gave it right back to him. There was nobody in guns. The only people who had guns were, well, Capitol Police, and they didn't even use their guns.
Wait, hold on. Is he talking about
January 6th?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I thought he meant to mention Portland, Oregon, or something.
Nah.
They had some guns at their home.
No,
someplace.
at the rally.
Oh, really? Well, I have not heard that at all. No, I don't think so. They had no guns.
Nope, none.
They had no guns.
So-
that was a peaceful.
So you're comfortable with the Day of
patriotic.
Love?
No.
You wouldn't modify that?
I'm talking about when I made that speech, I've never seen anything like it. They came down to protest a rigged election. Very simple. They protested an election, and you know what? I think you have the right to protest in this country.
Well, no one's
you know, if
disputing that,
anybody
but-
else protests, nobody does anything about it. Take a look at Portland.
Right, but you're going back to another
No,
situation. I'm talking
not.
about that day.
I'm talking about another situation. People got killed. They destroyed the city. They've broken all the storefronts. They tried to tear down the federal courthouse.
So what Trump is doing is he's comparing January 6th to the BLM riots that really took place in a lot more cities than Portland. But Portland, it did happen.
Over
It was
500.
egregious in
Yeah,
Portland.
bro, it was like I'm gonna say this, over 500 riots.
Across America in this quote unquote, their day of love really can be, I guess, they're comparing one day, a few hours to a whole summer of love.
Bro,
Billions of dollars in damage on federal buildings and
bro,
property.
150 federal buildings destroyed or vandalized is like
Praised and,
glorified.
by the media and celebrities alike. So it is kind of funny. Like, Trump is really doing the perfect comparison. So, because if you're going to come at me for, I guess, inciting a coup on January 6th, what was that whole summer that everybody ignored, that everybody propped up?
Man.
Shout out Ben Cam, man, coming in with $20, man. Man, that's a baller alert over here at St. Community, man. We appreciate the support. I ain't had too much to say, just wanted to show some support. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
Shout out Martin Gingrich, $10. If the people of J6 wanted to harm politicians, they could have easily done so. They outnumbered police 50-1. And that is, man, we were on the video reacted to.
Bro,
there was local police saying, like, bro, this feels like a
setup. Like, we weren't going to win this.
Like, they set us out here underprepared, misinformed, and low-key not enough bodies.
Expect us to take home a dub over this riot?
They weren't there for assault and bodily harm, period. And that's very true, man. There's also a video, I think, the QAnon shaman, he's literally in the Capitol building. He's like talking to the police, and he said, "God bless y'all, thank y'all."
Yeah, we just wanted to sit here. Thank you for letting us protest. It's like, that don't sound like an evil guy.
Right, not a hostile man at all. Like, thank y'all, God bless y'all. Like, bro, okay.
Like, all right.
This is the guy that they said was low-key leading the charge. And I'm just like, bro.
Okay. Man, make sure to like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Take a look at Seattle. They took over Seattle. They took it over. They took over.
Nobody's condoning that either.
Of course. Well, no, but nothing happened to the people that did it. They're not in jail. There's nobody in jail. Take a look at Minneapolis, the city of this wacky governor, this wacky guy that runs it, that's now trying to be vice president. That was death, and it was fire. Nobody's ever seen anything. The whole city looked like it was burning down. Nothing happened to those people. The only thing it happened to are these people. Take a look more.
I'm not gonna lie. Tim Walz really failed the people and the residents of Minnesota. He really called that riot, the riots that tore the city down after the George Floyd event that really kind of started the whole thing off that summer. He called them beautiful displays of the right to assembly.
And they want to call crying for help when the same people he let down surround his house.
I'm like, dog, you can't low-key stand for it until it gets to a point where it affects you and then be like, oh, okay, we went too far. Like, bro, it tore your state up.
And you just let it happen. Like, bro, what are you talking about now?
How you want to run for VP? Like, we don't know that was you. All right.
Tampon Timmy.
More recently, about 2 months ago, they had a really bad situation where they put graffiti all over the beautiful limestone lines. They can never be the same because limestone's a soft stone and the stuff will go inside the paint. But they put spray paint on top of lions. It'll be there in 100 years. You're going to see it. No, but they had vicious rights. They were attacking the cops. Nothing happened to them. Only to these people. And I just want fairness.
Hey, shout out Ricky Peace, man. $2, man. They had too much to say. Just wanted to show some support. Appreciate you, dog.
Let's go.
That's all.
Appreciate
General
Rick.
Jim Mattis, who was your Secretary of Defense, has now joined General Mark Milley, who was your Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, in saying, this is their quote, "You are the most dangerous person ever." I assume you'd like to respond.
Well, they were not my
Dangerous
cup of
person
tea.
ever.
They were woke. You know that. They were not
So-
great generals.
Pretty much, he was the most dangerous person, the wokeness they ever seen.
Bro.
And if that's what they really meant, the most dangerous person, the wokeness.
In my opinion, I was asking them advice. I didn't
Enemy to
agree with the
wokeness.
advice. Look at the advice that Milley gave to Biden on Afghanistan. Move the soldiers out first. No, you have to move the soldiers out last. I don't respect them as soldiers. I never did. I fired them both. I let them resign, but I fired them both. I got them out. In the form of Mattis. The other one I didn't. I didn't listen to his advice very much because
you're
I didn't
dismissing
respect
what
and
you're
some
saying
others.
about
And
you.
I did respect others. My generals, where I beat, as you know, I defeated ISIS. It was supposed to take years, and I got it done very quickly. Had great generals that I dealt with. I don't consider those people great
And shout out Ricky Peace coming in with another $2 super chat. We appreciate the support, Ricky. Man.
generals. I think Mattis was a wash and not very good. And I think that Milley was terrible. I watched his performances in Congress, and I thought he was terrible. And he told me the same thing about Afghanistan. I said, we want to get out. I was prepared to get out. I was going to keep Bagram, but I would have been out before Biden. Milley said we should leave all of the military equipment behind. I said, why would you do that? Would you leave a $150 million jet fighter? Yes, sir. It's cheaper, sir. And I started to realize, and to me, he wasn't my cup of tea. I can give you, I just had...
Hey, shout out Ricky Peace coming in with another $2. Ain't got too much to say, just showing support. And shout out Platinum Star Media, man. This is his first super chat on the live stream, and we appreciate that.
I like
honor.
the name.
That is pretty hard, I ain't gonna lie.
Platinum Star Media.
Hey, cold.
Go.
I was very honored by it. 300 and some odd people signed a major letter saying that I was a great commander-in-chief, and they were all top intelligence people and military people.
So therefore, you're dismissing Mattis and Milley.
Well, I just didn't respect them. I didn't think they were good. And Mattis, I fired. I said, give me a letter, but fired. And Milley, I would have fired, but the time was, pretty short, so I just left him. But I thought Milley was terrible. I thought what he did for Biden, and he blames Biden on top of everything else.
Hey, Ricky Peace with another $2, man. We appreciate you, dog.
Oh, God.
He blames Biden for the catastrophe. The most embarrassing day in the history of our country, I believe, or moment in time, was Afghanistan. The way they did that, taking the soldiers out first. We would have been out of there so good that, we had conditions. We had a very strong condition. You take the soldiers out last, but Milley should have been fired, immediately should have been fired. Everybody having to do with the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the withdrawal was fine, but the way they did it was so bad, should have been fired. No, I didn't respect Milley, and I didn't.
Idea, great. Execution, terrible. Like what? It cost 13 soldiers their lives that they didn't want to show up to the funeral of. I mean, imagine having a flawed order that cost 13 people their lives, and the president, the generals don't show up to these people's funeral. But Trump did. But Trump did it. And shout out Big Wave Dave. He said, hey, trolls, all we talk about, we have video receipts for. What do you have a clip of? A MSNBC talking head? Yeah, what do y'all have a clip of? I do want to know where y'all get y'all information. Please let me know.
I didn't respect Mattis. I respect a lot of people. But you mentioned a couple of hundred people. These were people,
out Big Wave
a lot
Dave,
of them
man.
I fired. I thought they were no good. What you didn't say is that a letter came in just recently. I had nothing to do with it. Over 300 people that work in government said I was the best president they've ever had. Let's go to another thing, the border. Tom Homan said I'm the greatest president in his lifetime, that in his opinion, I'm the greatest president ever.
And make sure to like the video, guys. Go ahead and double tap that screen for me. The 3 dots up there in the corner. We appreciate the support, man. Let's get straight to it.
The people that ran the border, I had a very safe border. I had a great border. I had the best border that we've ever had in this country in recorded history.
And you hold Kamala Harris partially responsible for the situation?
No, I hold her fully responsible.
I'm weak.
I gave them
He's like,
the best
he's all
border
the way
we've ever had.
responsible.
Now we have the worst border in history of any country, not just our country. There's never been a border. And now it's learned through, and by the way, just so you know, I just got Border Patrol, gave me their endorsement.
I know.
and it's a complete and total. And they said she's terrible. They didn't just give me the endorsement. They said I'm the best they've ever seen, and they said she's the worst that we've ever seen. They were so bad. I don't even know how they do it. I mean, it was so bad what they said about her that anybody reading that endorsement would say you can't vote for her. So when you tell me about a couple of stiffs, a few stiff people, people that I fired, largely, you know why I fired? Because they were no good. Biden never fires anybody. So when you don't fire people, they don't write books about you. When you fire people, they do. They won't write books about him anyway because really nobody cares about him. It's one of those things.
Your famous line about Springfield, Ohio, and I take your point that 15 to 20,000 legal Haitian immigrants settling in that area causes a lot of friction. But when you said, and you know it's gone viral, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, you say you're just reporting what had been said. But why not say now, well, look, that turned out not to be true.
I don't know if it's not true. I don't know if it's true or not true. I read
eating
something.
The pets, you don't know if it's true or not true? It's been debunked by local officials.
What about the geese? What about the geese? What happened there? They're all missing.
It's like, hey.
They try to bury that 911 call that they tried to bury where there was two Haitian males and a Haitian female on a walking trail in Springfield, Ohio at a public park, and people seen them holding geese by the necks. Call the police. There's a 911 call that they try to bury to back this account.
What about the citizens' accounts? What about them coming out going like, yo, yeah, I've seen them taking ducks. Yo, yeah, I've seen them take cats, or they're holding cats too. So what about the citizens' account? Why is honestly Springfield covering their citizens' suffering? And it's funny, I'll tell you why, because, well, I guess the city council, Springfield, or the upper management of Springfield profits off the immigrants and also profits from the property, well, I guess from the housing increase, the rent increase that the immigrants kind of, bring in through government subsidies. So shout out our government.
Listen, Howie, I have no idea. I said something. The big problem is that you can't put 30,000 people into a 50,000 person town or city and expect this city to even survive or do well. What they've done to Springfield, Ohio is very, very unfair. And, I mean, there are a lot of stories. There are a lot of other stories that I've heard that are horrible stories. I haven't said it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But that's a story that was reported, and I said that. Why don't you go after the newspaper that wrote it? Don't blame me.
Well, I think it's been debunked by local officials.
I don't think it's been debunked at all. I think nobody talks about it except you.
Going after individual news organizations like the Wall Street Journal, but you're also crusading against fact checkers. And in fact, you've turned down a number of interviews if there was going to be real-time fact checking. What's your issue there? Well,
I haven't turned down your interview, and you and I have no deal. When we came up here, right. I didn't say you can't talk about anything. I'll talk about anything. I don't care.
But do fact checkers have credibility in this age?
There are no fact checkers.
No. Yeah, that's the problem.
When they only fact check one side of the debate. It's
yeah.
What we all seen on debate night. Like, it ended up turning into a 3v1.
Like, bro, Kamala told so many lies on that debate. It was crazy. And the fact that they didn't fact check not one of it is wild. And that's what we kind of saw what it was. That's why we don't even
check one, just in good faith, just to be like, okay, no, we getting both sides. They didn't even try it.
Bro, they even try to like push back on them and be like, all right, Kamala, can you actually answer the question?
Bro, I was raised in a single parent household by a single mother. And my mother was at work, so I was raised by my neighbor. Like, oh, God damn it.
So you asked her about the economy.
Oh, God.
Not anymore.
Who say that?
Excuse me. What I said is, and I reported this, and I said it very loudly because...
And shout out Big Wave Dave, man. He said, again, trolls, we have receipts. What do you have? Man, oh, look, bro. All they have is vitriol and hate for Trump, bro. That's all they got.
Did we read this first one from Big Wave Dave?
Yeah. Did I? Hate trolls.
Hate trolls, all we talk about...
Oh yeah, I read that.
Okay.
All right, we're
sure we got you.
Largely, there's fake news out there. It's corrupt news. It's beyond fake news. In the old days, I've been doing this for a long time. I'd have a story in the New York Times, let's say, and when the writer was finished, I'd get a call from what's called a fact checker. This is what I said. And they'd say, sir, is it right that you did this? Is it right that you did that? Is it right that you have this number of things, whatever it may be? In other words, you check the story. I didn't appreciate it at the time. Now I do. It was so professional. They checked the writer, and it's called a fact checker.
Well, they're still
I said, I haven't had a fact checker call me in 20 years. It's true. I used to have them call me all the time. Routinely, a fact checker at the New York Times or whoever was doing a story.
Usually it's magazines, but go ahead.
They don't fact check anymore. Today, they don't even call. They write stories. The New York Times is totally, in my opinion, corrupt. They write stories about me knowingly false, knowing anything to try and win it for a radical left crazy person that will destroy our country. And I call it the failing New York Times. It does terribly.
You know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure Trump would actually sue some of these people for defamation if the lies weren't actually giving them more votes. If the lies weren't giving him more supporters, bro, Trump would have took all these people like, the Russiagate, defamation on a whole nother level. You pretty much called me a traitor. You've been spreading it since day one, and it's been disproven. He can come out and low-key get everybody, every left-leaning media on that. But here's the thing. It only helps him. Every lie y'all tell about Trump that we find out that's true, it only helps him. And guess what? His whole Central Part 5 is about to be proven as false in a second. So get ready. And shout out Big Wave Day, man. Setting key. Keep showing the receipts. Sorry if you are just blind and ignorant, man. On God, bro. So look, bro. We do pity the blind and ignorant. We do. But don't worry. With love, though. With love.
They write whatever they want to write.
Do you have an example of something that you thought?
Well, I think you'll see it because I'm probably going to sue them at some point, very soon. So you'll see it. You'll have a lot of pages worth of examples. But they will write and the thing is, the public doesn't see it. They'll write the opposite of what you tell them. I'll tell them this, and then it's not printed that way. Look, we have a great example, and a lot of them lately, and we don't have the Times. The Times I could give you a lot. I'll give you a lot. You'll see a lot in about a week. But the 60 Minutes, go back to it. Do you think it's ethical for them to take her whole answer out and give her a brand new answer that makes her look okay as opposed to incompetent?
No, I think it's highly unethical. The question is
but
whether
don't you think
losing
that
a license is sufficient, is an adequate or drastic punishment.
How many times have they done it? They've done it to me, too, in a different way.
Ooh, that's
See, my
true.
answers are good. The difference is they will take things out of my answers. They'll shorten them up, and they're really changing them. But I don't consider that.
And shout out Ben Kemp, man. We love you guys. We need you. And don't worry, big dog. We are not going nowhere as long as we got supporters like y'all, man.
Man, locked in.
We going to be here every day.
The same kind of a violation.
He says, "Can you poll will Trump win? Will Trump win lead to Democrat J6?"
Will Trump's win lead to Democrats J6? I am 70% there. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm 70% that the Democrats are gonna do their own J6 if Trump wins. They'll do their own thing, or they'll be like, that's why we need the popular vote. We need to throw out the electoral college vote because we want to be able to cheat with California and New York's population. It's like, yeah, we're not doing that. That's exactly why we're not doing that.
I've never heard of it. I think it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history. I think what they did, you have a candidate.
Oh, and make sure to like the video, man. Double tap that screen for me or 3 dots up there in the corner, man. Appreciate the support.
From a major party of 2 candidates. You have the candidate from a major party who's incompetent. She's incompetent. You know it, and so do I. And hopefully the public will find out about it before they vote. And she'll ruin this country. And she's a Marxist. She's going to ruin this country. But you have a candidate from...
Why do you keep saying she's a Marxist?
Because her father's a Marxist. And, okay, if you look
even if he was, and that's in...
No, father's a Marxist
he's a professor who has...
No, he's a Marxist professor of economics.
Therefore,
and by the way, whatever happened to him? How come nobody interviews him?
Therefore, his daughter is a Marxist.
No.
Stay tuned, man. We got a special video coming up next. We're going to get into Kamala's father, a little bit of her lineage, a little bit deeper, man.
From somebody that knew him, Judge Joe Brown, man, this is going to be banging.
Fire, man. Light it up. But if you haven't already liked the video, man, let's get into it.
Her views
like the video,
but now she's changed him. She's become MAGA. She became MAGA. I'm going to send her a hat because she's viewed. Now her views are much different. But you go back 2 years ago. Go back to when she was defeated by Biden. Okay,
4 years ago, yeah.
And she was radical left. Transgender operations for anybody that wanted them. She was beyond, I would say she was probably beyond Marxist, if you want to know the truth. She is considered, let's put it differently, she's rated by a lot of professionals to be by far the most liberal senator and much more liberal than Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas, okay? When you're more liberal than Bernie Sanders, I mean, and by a lot, this country cannot have that. This country has to get wise to it. They have to find out. So when you ask me that question, you can't talk about her now. You have to talk about her a couple of years ago. There'll be no drilling. There'll be no fracking. There'll be no anything. She was, so she was, liberal's not the word. She was far left of what you would call liberal.
Mr. President, thank you very much for sitting down with us here at Trump Tower.
Thank you very much.
Hey, and you pulled up to Trump Tower. All right, I like it. But let's get to Trump in the barbershop, guys. Yes, my man came to the barbershop to talk to talk to the Hispanic brethren, man. Let's go, man.
How good are the barbers here?
Excellent.
I'll bet they're good. Let's see. I can see they're good. They look good to me. Nice soft floor. What's that all about? Why is this wrestling matches? Thank you. Nice to see you all. How are you? Nice to see you. Big hands, strong guy. Nice to see you. So you the owner?
My son's the owner.
Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you?
Great.
Good. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, I've been going to the barbershops all across the country.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a natural conversation, with these folks.
Dang, he brought Trump to the barbershop.
Hey,
man, hold on.
They say Trump ain't a man of the people, man.
I mean,
Kamala go to the hair salon.
I'm weak as hell, bro. Okay. Hey, yo, that'd be lit, though. I ain't even gonna lie. All right, I'd have to give her props on that one. But Trump coming to the barbershop, yeah, Kamala might have to pull up to the salon in Atlanta.
On God, or Detroit.
Ooh.
Right here. So this fella right here, he used to be in law enforcement for some years. What would you say is the most important issue facing the country right now?
For me, it's the border.
Right.
For me, it's the border.
I agree.
And how to control that, how to keep illegal migrants from coming into the country.
Right.
Very important for me. And if I had a question to ask about it, would be how do we control the city, sanctuary cities? Because New York is
we get rid of them.
Yes.
We get rid of them because they're sanctuary. You know what they're for? Criminals. And all over the country, the criminals go there. But you're right. The polls are showing that inflation and not the border is third. They have inflation and the economy as the number one and number two issue. I disagree. I think inflation is massive. The economy is massive. But the border to me is like it's the fabric of our country. And we had the strongest border in recorded history. 4 years ago, you had a border. You didn't have the problems that you have now. Last week, they announced that we had 13,099 convicted murderers released from jails all over the world. It's not South America. It's all over the world, including South America. So I agree with you. I think the biggest problem we have is the border. It's something, and it's also the hardest thing to solve. And the only way you can solve it, you have to get the criminals, the murderers, you got to get them out. You got to get them out fast before they prey on our people.
That was a big question for me.
That's the true issue, man. You got residents of the Bronx in New York, low key. You can tell this man is of Hispanic descent. So anybody can recognize the issue and call it out for what it is. Like, yeah, these migrants piling up in all of our cities, respectively, whether you're Springfield, whether you're New York, whether you're LA, bro, it's making it tougher for the rest of us. People who are legally here, we're already finning and, having to compete for resources as it is. These underserved communities, then you dump more migrants on top of us, and then you prioritize them over us. Yeah, a lot of people are going to feel disgruntled, disenfranchised, and ultimately, more and more people are starting to get upset and recognize the issue. That's why Trump is garnering so much support. He has an actual stance at the border versus Kamala, who's held a seat of power in a position of power for the last 4 years and has failed to address the issue. Shout out guest dude. There was no J6 because Trump, my left nut. It's just a Vegas shooter we never talk about anymore. And man, that's facts. That Mandalay Bay shooter, man, I do miss that. I mean, not miss it. I do remember that. But you said miss with that mess. Facts. Also, Antifa started after 2016. Yeah, that's when they came to prominence, that Antifa leftist movement. But yeah, that is kind of funny how nobody talks about that Mandalay shooter who was also a product of a little thing we know called MK Ultra. But hey, those are the things we like to skip over.
I mean, because I'm a retired New York City detective.
Right.
So in New York here, we've run across that for
Well,
a
the
long
other
time.
problem you have is that you're not allowed to do your job.
Yeah.
And when you were there, you
Yeah.
go back 10, 15 years, when you were there, you were allowed to do your job.
Yes.
New York's finest. They're still New York's finest, but they're not allowed to do their job.
So when you were president, I know for a fact I was able to do three things. I was able to see money, save money, spend money.
Right?
Now in the past almost 4 years now, I'm losing my business basically. The
Are you
money's
losing
just
it?
not there.
It's your business?
It's my business. I started it for the past 10 years, and the only time I knew I made it was when you were in office, so I could speak for myself.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like, I don't know what more to do. How can we make the economy come back?
How do you get to the bottom of
So here's what we're doing. Number one, it all began with the oil. They screwed around with what I did with oil. We had the greatest, we were energy independent. You remember back 4 or 5 years ago, $1.87 for a gallon of gas. We actually had it lower than that for your car, $1.87. Now it's at 3.5, but it was much higher. They brought back my policies to break even, but by that time the damage was done, and now you have inflation and you have the cost so high, and they haven't gone down. We're going to do two things. Interest rates are going down. It's going to be brought down. It's going to be brought down fast, but much more importantly and quicker, we're going to drill, baby, drill. You've heard that, right? Drill, baby, drill. We're going to get our oil. We're going to have much more of it that we're going to do 4 to 5 times more than we're doing right now. We can do that. These people are amazing. They can do it. And we'll be supplying it to Asia. We'll be supplying it to Europe. We'll be supplying it to everywhere. And that's going to bring down prices. It's going to bring down the cost of everything. If you make donuts, when you look at these stores, they have trucks that deliver. They have stoves and ovens. You have your lighting. You have all this, equipment. And all of that electric equipment that he's using on your beautiful head of hair. You have a good-looking head of hair. I'm jealous. Look at that flat top. I'd have a flat top. I wish I had a flat top. You never had a hair loss problem, did you? Lucky. It's one of those gifted.
And shout out Big Wave Dave, man. He said, "Trolls, send a super chat. I promise you, you will be proven wrong, suckers." Yeah, man. Big Wave Dave in the chat chiming in, man. He taking on all trolls, all haters, all disagreeers, man. See my man Big Wave Dave, man. He got something to say.
Ones. Anyway, what you do? Those machines are very expensive. They're running the machines that electric. When that comes down, like in a shop like this, no matter what you do, it's about energy. We're going to bring it down. We're going to get the prices down. How's your rent done in terms of? Do you own the store or is it rented?
No, it's rented.
And is the landlord a good guy? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Do you cut his hair, I hope?
I mean, he comes in from time to time.
You cut his hair. You know what? If you're as good as your father says, right, and you cut his hair great, that's very important to barber to a guy. So he could be a wealthy landlord, but he'll give you a low rent because having a good barber is a very important thing, I can tell you.
So, Mr. President, you got a young guy right
That's a
there.
big thing, though.
It's a huge thing.
So how has your rent been? So where was it like 5 years ago, the rent?
I mean, the rent was significantly lower. Now it's gone up about 1,200 since.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a big increase.
All right, let me know if y'all
My
can hear me
issue
a little
was-
bit better. It should be a lot better. Shout out Platinum Star Media, man. Trump 2024 signing off. Love. Hey, man. Appreciate you, dog. Happy you tuned in today, man. Hopefully you like the content, dog. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe, too, if you haven't already.
It's more the energy. I've been paying $2,100 since I first opened up. In the last 7 months, it shot up to $15,000.
What?
It's $15,000, and that's
You went from 2,100.
Whoa. Everybody knows New York is expensive, but hold on. Even Trump was like, what? You said, huh? Who's your landowner? Your landlord? Everything bagel, a tiny hat? Like, bro, who could justify charging that much rent, low key? Who could justify making that price jump from 2,100 to 15,000? Like, even Trump, he knows real estate in New York was like, huh? Come again? You said what? Say it again for me, young buck. Hold on a second.
15,000.
Shout out Big Wave Day, or shout out Vladstein. Actually, my boy Vlad chiming in. He says the trolls ain't got the money. They broke.
What?
It's 15,000, and that's
You went from 2,100.
See, yeah, what's up?
in this establishment. Yeah.
How many heads can you take care of? That's
I
a
mean,
lot, right?
It's like
Yeah.
so much stealing.
Shit, and that's not just falling on the owner. Like that absorbent ass rent, bro. He's having to charge. If y'all don't know how barbershop works, everybody got to pay booth rent. So yeah, you get a booth, you get a chair, you get a little corner of the shop. You gotta pay towards the mortgage, the rent, whatever, and that's your booth rent. It might be $100 or $200 a week, depending on where you're at and the type of establishment you're working at. But that cost, that 15 grand, is just low key being passed down to the barbers who make significantly less than the owner, right? Assuming. So it is just kind of like, damn, that is low key. It's crazy. And you can make a good money as a barber, but come on, how much do you think barbers is really making? There's only like a top % of barbers who is really like eating out here. Every barber ain't overly eating. Every barber ain't one of these Instagram barbers. Shout out Platinum Star Media. He says, subscribed already, bro. I'm from New Mexico. Hey, you from one of the border states, man. You might have to chime in and let us know how it is down there for y'all. You got a first person experience. So we got to see something. We got to hear from you, bro. They say it ain't bad, bro, but we know the truth.
Went from 2,100 to 15,000.
Yeah, so they
So
added-
there's an example, though. Energy, right? So energy, when that comes down, ready? I almost hate to say because you'd be at 7,000, right? But
Right.
your energy bill from January 20th, if I win, we gotta win. And we're gonna, by the way, and we're in New York, and these guys love New York. If we win, oh, I love this guy. Look at that. Give me that hat. I'm gonna sign it. Come on, give me that hat. I love this guy. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. I'll sign yours too. Look at that one.
We fighting with them.
So what's?
I don't know why.
He's gonna keep busy for a long time. So let me ask you, how much is it like a haircut? An average haircut? Guy comes in, he wants.
$30, $40.
Yeah.
Right now,
What
at
did
this
it
point.
used to be?
15, 12,
Bro,
15.
Back
yeah.
in the day, everybody who goes in for a haircut,
20
right?
at most.
Bro, when you was a kid, bro, it used to be like 10 for
Bruh.
a young buck back in the early
At the
2000s.
barber school, hell yeah.
Bro, go get you a $10 cut, bro. You got
And-
a decent cut for that price.
And if you
too.
from Columbus, I'm talking about the one on Broad.
Oh, God.
Like, man,
Oh,
About
God.
10 years ago.
get the expert
Yeah.
for like $14.
Make it make sense. You know,
Design
like
in
we
there.
can't charge a regular prices, especially out here in our.
Do you have guys like these guys? Do they come in and negotiate the price?
Yeah.
They probably do. I would.
What's your question for the president, sir?
What is the plan to do about the the food healthcare industry and getting the artificial foods banned in our urban communities that have less access to organic whole food?
Yep, 10,000 chemicals that are in our food that we don't know about that slowly kills us.
And it is funny how they put all these corner stores in these lower socioeconomic spots, like these hoods, so to speak, and there's nothing but processed foods in there. You can't go in there and get a head of lettuce. You can't go in there and get no bananas.
Oh God! And shout out guest dude, man. Do people not remember the punch a Nazi protest?
Yeah, I do.
Oh God! And trolls are just here to troll. They aren't serious, man. Yo, God, y'all better hop on Big Wave Dave. He's calling y'all out.
Man,
And-
he wants all the smoke.
Oh God! Make sure to like the video, man. Double tap that screen. 3 dots up there. Let's go.
So, Bobby Kennedy, right? Everybody likes Bobby Kennedy. And he's so big into the health food and women, things, everything. He wants to do things in the environment. And he endorsed me. First time a Kennedy's ever endorsed a Republican. Maybe it's going to be the last, but I doubt it. And he's a great guy. He would be so perfect. He doesn't like artificial foods, and he doesn't like pesticides and all the stuff they put on them. And if you listen to him for 10 minutes, I mean, he says other countries that don't do anything are healthier than us, okay? We're not
That is true.
that healthy.
Not really, like, bro, like, look up what Red 40 does to your body. Like, look up what a lot of these, ingredients. Like, look at the back of your ingredients. Look at them. And if you can't pronounce something, look what it does to the human body. And trust you, you're not going to like the side effect at all.
It is crazy to think for the FDA that cares so much about us, that's trying to protect us. They allow these chemicals, they allow these carcinogens to be in our food freely, but in other countries, they're outlawed.
Man.
So no artificial foods.
Only in
We don't
America.
want we have plenty of food. The food isn't our problem. And our farmers are great. And our farmers aren't allowed to do their job. You know, our farmers did great 4 years ago. They were doing just about the best they've ever done. They're not doing well at all now. We're not going to have artificial foods. We don't want artificial foods. We want healthy foods. And a lot of things are going to be going. And I'll tell you, I'm going to have Bobby Kennedy involved in it. He's a great guy. And even the way when I mentioned his name, all you guys, and you're tough cookies. You know, you wouldn't think. Sometimes you'd say maybe you wouldn't like a guy like Bobby, but he's a person that talks more about food and health than anything else. So I think that's cool. So we'll get it taken care of. You'll be healthier in 4 years from now than you are now, and you look very healthy to me, by the way.
All right, brother.
Thank you. Go ahead.
What do you have for
Yes,
the
Mr.
president?
Trump. My biggest concern is the future and the future generation,
Right.
my kids' generation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are worried that attaining the American dream at this point in time and in the near future is going to be unattainable for this upcoming generation, which I have kids that are part of that generation.
And shout out Vladstein. He said, "Trolls, I'm not a bot, nah, but you run your mouth like one." Hey, yeah, that's how it seems sometimes. It seems like you're talking to a bot sometimes, because you just like, man, I've heard all Democrats say that. I've heard all Kamala supporters say that. Do any of y'all have anything original, or y'all just all regurgitate the same bull? Like at this point,
How many kids you have?
I have two, a 17 and an 18-year-old.
Good.
Now, I believe one of the biggest hurdles we have when it comes to attaining that American dream is overtaxation.
Yeah.
When it comes to federal taxes,
Right.
I know we're going to bring back, I'm sure you're going to start back up the pipeline,
Right.
the Keystone Pipeline,
In 2 minutes.
which is going to generate an abundance of revenue.
Right.
Also, with the tariffs that you've spoken of. So my question is, with all this extra revenue
Yeah.
we're going to be bringing into the country, so do you believe at some point in time we could find a way, once the country's back on its feet and getting enough revenue and paid off our debt, do you
Yeah.
think it's possible to find a way to eliminate federal taxes?
There is a way. There is a
And
way.
how do you feel about it?
You know, in the
What
old
steps would you
days,
take?
when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all, this is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying.
people say the government spending is going to increase under Trump's proposed tax plan. Other proponents say that there's going to be extra revenue due to the Keystone Pipeline, due to fracking, offshore drilling. So it really depends on who you're listening to on that. But ultimately, I like Trump's plan. Drill, baby, drill, he said since day one. And if y'all know anything about energy, man, that's what gets the cost down.
Paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax.
That crude oil,
in the
man,
old
we need
days,
it. We need it.
1890, 1880, we had so much money. They had to set up committees, blue ribbon committees, how to spend our wealth. We had no idea how to spend it with so much money. Then we went to the income tax system, and the rest is sort of history. But no, there is a way. I mean, if what I'm planning comes out, it's a great question, by the way.
Everyone could attain
You're a
the
pretty
American
sophisticated cat, you know.
Everyone could attain the American dream if it wasn't for the high cost, the burden of high taxes, and we're
Everything.
taxed at every step of the way.
Yeah.
When we make it, when we
And
spend
regulations. And regulations. So I cut more regulations in 4 years than any other president by 4 times. Yeah, let's go. You were going to ask one question.
What is one thing that you probably feel like you didn't do in your first term that you feel like you could do better now?
I'll tell you the one thing, because I did.
Great question, actually, because, I mean, he only had 4 years that first time around, and there was some things that he tried to enact, some policies he wanted to see through that he just quite wasn't able to within those 4 years. Like, he spoke on PBD podcast, and he talked about a conversation he had with Apple CEO Tim Cook, and he was explaining that the CEO called him and said, like, look, Samsung, they operating in China, we operating in China, we really can't compete with your imposed tariffs. Like, they're Chinese natives, like, they get to send it over without the tariffs, but because we're an American company, we being taxed, like, let us get off. And Trump worked the deal out with him, said, yeah, like, low-key, I'll let you get off. I think he got 12 to 18 months, but you got to start moving your company over here. And they built a factory, I want to say, in Texas. And ultimately, like I said, Trump only had 4 years, so he wasn't able to see that through. And when Kamala and Biden came in, they kind of switched everything up that, you know, Trump was trying to go through and enact. But second time around, a lot of the stuff that we seen, if it wasn't tariffs, getting companies back to come over here, if it wasn't Trump's platinum plan, if it wasn't tax breaks, a lot of that we'll probably be able to see come to fruition in his second term, hopefully.
Yeah, look, we had the best economy with the best border. We had so I did a lot of good stuff, rebuilt them.
And shout out Vlad Sim, he came in with a live video request. It's crazy in Pennsylvania, even though Amish are voting for Trump by Nick Johnson. Okay, yeah. I have heard the Amish are about to step out to the polls for Trump. Shout out. Because I don't even know if they participate in the election normally. Like, somebody got to let me know. Do they even participate normally? I think they I think they one of those religious groups that just sit the shit out. I thought so, at least.
Military, it's all about people. I got to get the right people. You know, when I went there, I won. 92% of the presidents, 92% for the whole history of our country were politicians. 8% were generals. No admirals. 8% were, that's it. That's 100%. 92 and 8. They were politicians and they were generals. General Washington, you know, et cetera, George Washington. Thank you. You're doing very good at that. I'm just going to sign this out. Give me
I got longer arms than you.
Yeah, you do have longer arms. So here's what we do. We take all of that and we come, and here comes Donald Trump down the line. And so it's about people. It's all about people. I went to Washington 17 times in my entire life. So I wasn't a Washington person. I was a New York person. So when I went to Washington, all of a sudden I'm standing in the White House opposite the Lincoln bedroom. And I said, man, this is so amazing. But I didn't really know too many. So I had to rely on people to give me recommendations for people, to run agencies, to be secretary of this, secretary of that, all big stuff. And I didn't know anybody. I had to rely. And I still did great. Look, we rebuilt the military. We knocked out ISIS. We did all these things. We did great. We had the best economy. We had the best everything. Everything was good. But I had some people that if I had it to do again, I wouldn't have used. Now I've been there 4 years, plus another 4 that I'm sort of there in a way. I know the best people. To me, it's all about people. You got to have the right people. We have the best people lined up. We're going to do a great job. Listen, so I'm going down to see the Wall Street Journal. If I had my choice, I'd stay with you for 2-3 hours because you guys are great. You guys are the same as me. It's the same stuff. We were born the same way. I grew up in Queens and all of that. I mean, you know, it's. I had a great father. I had a father.
And shout out Platinum Star Media Man, $10. He says fentanyl is bad down here as well as the crime. Okay, yeah. So I asked Platinum Star Media how it was down there because he stays in New Mexico, one of the border states. And one of the forgotten border states, really. They talk about Texas. They talk about Cali.
Because they're Democrat.
They don't mention New Mexico. So he says fentanyl is bad down here, y'all. As well as the crime. Hobbs, New Mexico is where I am from. I have to see where that's at in relation to the border. And he says, and we are one of the biggest oil-producing countries, Lea County. And we are drilling like a mug. LML. Trump 2024. Okay, I ain't even know that. Shout out.
Shout out. And shout out Seth, man. She said, some 41 motivation, old song, please play for a few secs. All right, well, let me go look it up.
Father was a great guy. He was tough but good, big heart.
Oh, make sure to like the video, guys. Double tap that screen, 3 dots up there. Let's go.
And I still got your video as well, Vlad.
I had a great father. I had a father who was a great guy. He was tough but good, big heart, big heart. And he was a construction guy, pretty much, and a real estate guy. And I learned a lot from him. He was great. But I know you people so well without knowing you. I know you so well. When I walked in here, I said, this is home territory, and I really appreciate it. And you are fantastic. I bet he's a fantastic father. Take care of that guy, right?
I think we got time for one more,
Okay,
Mr. President. Go ahead,
Mr. President, are there things that...
Is he a good barber, too?
Yeah.
Who's better, you or him as a barber? How long have you worked here?
11 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Could he give me a good haircut, Jim?
You gonna do it?
I do it.
That's the master right there.
Who's the master? Is he the best?
Right there.
Nah, Trump gonna walk out with a whole lineup like bro right here if he's going to get a haircut.
You ain't seen that edit of him after he got shot? He had the little fade.
I'm weak. Bro, if Trump had the fade, it's too
35
much.
years.
It's too much. I mean, hold on,
He
dog.
looks
Too
like
much.
a young guy.
Fade.
Good job. You did a good job with your boy, I'll tell you, right?
Yeah.
You did a good job with your son, huh?
He's a great kid.
He's doing
Love it.
good.
I'm proud of
And
him.
you have other kids, too?
Yeah, I got four altogether. 2 girls and 2
All
boys.
good. I'll bet all good,
They're
right?
all doing great.
I can look at him and see that you all
I'm
turned out
happy.
good.
I'm in peace.
Do they work here, too, at all?
No. One of them works with him in his restaurant.
That works with me.
Oh, good. What do you do?
I'm a real estate investor and I own a restaurant and a bar.
Good, great. You look great.
I'm here next to the president. I got to look great.
President, I think we can say here collectively, I met all these guys today for the first time, but we all love America just like you. And that's why we're here.
Thank you, very
Thank you,
much.
Mr.
Really
President.
nice. Thank you. Thank you.
It's great, Lauren.
So I got to tell you, if you've been watching Fox for years, I've been talking about the barbershop for years. And
he says, if you're anti-tariffs, you're pro-slavery.
Damn. I mean, whoa. He went there, but whoa. You might want to. Can you elaborate on that for me?
That would outsource most of our labor to China, and like I said, they're known human rights violators. They do not care.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they got suicide nets
Good
set
point.
outside the building because they work their people.
Yep, we gonna catch you and put you right back to work. Oh, you thought you was gonna escape this shift? Oh, no.
Y'all remember the Chinese Communist Party protests? How everybody was like low key scared to speak out on it. Even LeBron